So, is that recording?
I don't know.
Oh yes, it is.
That's my worst angle.
Oh dear. So, welcome to Children of the Revolution. This one is the closure. This is the closure and her story about the whole saga with the school, which I wrote quite a lot about in Musings, my blog. So if anybody's interested, this is just a little bit of a closure session. So I'm Louise Taylor and this is
Joanne Montague.
Yes, and Joanne, we know each other
Through work.
Yeah. But then
The workshops.
Yeah. And you're a governor.
Yes. And I worked in a school.
And you're a mother.
And a mother, yeah.
Yeah, and you worked in a school. So you've got a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge, and you're very passionate about child welfare.
Absolutely.
So I just thought it would be great. There was a few people and I just thought, no. I think we're the same ethos about children. I think that we're both...
That's it. It's a nurture thing with the children.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
and, if the children behave in a certain way, well, why are you behaving like that? What has made you do that? What's the build-up that not just a punishment because you've misbehaved?
Yes.
We need to go back a bit and take it back and see what has happened.
But that's obvious to me.
But it's not obvious to a lot of other people.
No.
Because people will say, you're behaving badly. What's your punishment?
Yes. Whereas I'm like, what's the message?
Yeah.
You're behaving badly. What are you communicating?
Absolutely.
So it's like so the complaints process. So it's like 9 months. So it's like I've given birth. And I have to say that...
And there is a baby after it.
Yes.
There is. This is the baby.
Yeah, and I got a 22-page document from the complaints subcommittee, who I have to say, I was saying to you, they should get a Nobel Peace Prize. I don't know how the fuck they did it. The woman who wrote this, I think, is the smartest woman ever. I don't know how she did it, but she did an incredible job. Now, when I met them in March, they said they were going for resolution. Now I got this document last Saturday. It's a hell of a lot of information. It's a hell of a lot. And actually, I was trying to process. And a few days later I went, well fucking done. Well done. They got a resolution.
Yeah, absolutely. They set out what they achieved what they set out to
I
do.
think so. And I do think they were fair. They were impartial. And they gave me all the information. It made complete sense because I had no idea what had been going on in the school because I didn't have a clear picture. I felt always isolated. I always felt quite like, what the hell's going on? Why is this not happening? And particularly whenever things started to escalate with Lily, it was very, very confusing to me. So I will be forever grateful for those governors and the gift that they've given, because they've given us closure for a very difficult
situation, I suppose.
Yeah. So we removed 2 children from a primary school and we all had our parts to play. Like, I'll hold my hand up, I could have done things a bit better, but I do think it was all what it was supposed to be, because the information and the learning for me is that children and parents do not have many rights in primary schools.
Absolutely.
I think our voices can be so easily not listened to, not heard. We're at the mercy, I find, of sometimes one person.
But it brings back what we were talking about before. It's the awareness. Parents aren't aware of what rights they do have.
Yeah. We don't have any.
Well, that's true.
You are at the mercy. You have as many rights.
Yeah.
I had as many rights as the head teacher was willing to give me. I didn't. I was like, it was terrifying what happened. I was like this here. Hold on, this can't be right. This can't be right. Like the whole time. Hold on, there's a child here. There's a child here. And what it was with this document, they have made it clear. So there's quite a lot of things happened, but I think one could be partially upheld, and that's very, very telling, because what the governors have done, they have spelled out exactly why things could not be upheld, which that's where the beauty of this document is. That's where I will be taking things further, in the fact that you can basically do anything in a primary school and there's nothing. There's
no accountability.
If you broadly comply to broadly comply, what does that even mean? To do nothing is a broad, well, that's not, to do nothing in an incident that I deem, and it's definitely child protection, to not contact parents. That is where the Education Authority investigated and said we should have been contacted, but you were thinking about doing it, so therefore it can't be upheld. That to me is madness.
But I mean, it's common sense that parents should be contacted. I mean, for goodness sake, even my eldest, who's only 6, she forgot her PE gear. And I'm sure most schools wouldn't even bother phoning the parents, but they did phone me and said, look, she's forgot, is there any chance you could leave it? No problem. And that was great for me, because I knew that she would be at a high level of stress and anxiety because she forgot her PE gear.
Yes.
And I thought that was brilliant.
Yes.
Or if she's upset, they will phone me and say, look, she's been a bit upset today.
Yeah. Yes, and that was something that with this school, the reason we lived in Brighton.
Yeah.
And I went to this school as a child. Mm-hmm. So as soon as we were moving back, it was
a no-brainer.
It was a no-brainer for me, because I had such positive experiences in that school. Like, I had 7 years, I had one bad year because of one teacher. So that's where some of my mistrust for some teachers, because I realise that they've got a very, very influential position and they can make your life hell. That comes from my personal experiences. So it was a no-brainer to go to that school. But as I said to the governors, if I had known what I wouldn't have even considered it. It doesn't make sense to put my children through what went on. And also, I said to them, when I was working directly with the teachers, it was no problem. But when things went wrong, they went spectacularly wrong. Mm-hmm. And the governors, I think, we were in there for an hour and 55 minutes, going through evidence, going through stuff, stuff going back years. And as I said, they couldn't have done a more thorough job. There's no way I would challenge what they've done. Yeah. But the findings are very telling about how parents are treated by primary schools. Mm-hmm. They're very telling about children. I mean, this is shocking in terms of the last week that Lily was in school. The number of times we phoned, the levels of distress, the hard time she was having. It was like vultures, those teaching staff going for her, even though they had told her to assert herself. She started to, and the paperwork that was going around between the head teacher.
But you can't put that on the child. You can't say to the child to do that.
It's so unfair. The way they treated Lily.
But she's only young, she's only learning. She doesn't, have that ability to fully express herself,
but she did.
To assert herself.
She was starting to, and this is where she was telling me, today I did that, and I was like, do you see what you've done? Mm-hmm. That was a ridiculous thing. You cannot be telling children to say what you think. You cannot be telling them to say if they're not happy with a lesson. Mm-hmm. I went to school, all of us would be for every, if you're learning punctuation, be like, I don't want to do this. It's ridiculous.
Where's the line drawn then?
But it's absurd. It's an absurd, but this is where I was telling the Education Authority, I was dealing with some of the stupidest things I've ever heard in my life. Mm-hmm. And while I was deeply concerned about my child, they were doing everything to get rid of me, but they never put the child first. And that's why I said to the Education Authority, as long as I am in this town, I will tell people never to trust that man. The way they treated my eldest child, the governors said that they couldn't decide whether it was proportionate, the removal of Lucia, but they understood the removal of Lily because it was ridiculous the way she was treated. Now, if I had been able to deal with her teacher, but he was doing a lot of training, if I could he was rational, he was logical, he was kind, she really loved him, and she really liked her friends. Yeah. But they made it almost impossible for me to get to any teachers. They made it unbearable to the point where we had to jump with our child for child protection concerns. The Education Authority, this is not slander, this is not defamation. The Education Authority are well and truly aware of how bad it got. And the documentation says that he is perfectly within his rights he went for the greater good, so he thought protecting the staff, and I said directly to him, He did not say to me there were behavioural issues with Lily, because he wouldn't have, because he knew his staff had been ridiculous. But he did say to my husband, whenever my husband had a meeting alone, because I didn't want to work with him. But it's like, how can you know a child is distressed in a primary school and actively stop people supporting her? They all wanted to punish her, but they didn't want to meet me or go on the blog. If you want to be written or talked about well, you should have behaved better.
But it takes very little to be nice.
Oh, I mean,
it takes very little to be nice.
They're all saying we can't punish her. I'm saying, I'm communicating with you regularly. This child is distressed. This child's having a hard time. Tell me why none of you working in a primary school thought to approach a 10-year-old with kindness, love and compassion. Didn't even cross their mind. I would love to see those emails that those professionals working with children were sending to each other about a child that has been called exemplary, role model, no issues, not one behavioural issue for years. And then her mother dared to express herself. And then all of a sudden, like vultures. I mean, it makes me feel sick what the governors are telling me was going on in that school. And that's a 10-year-old child.
It's very sad.
That they behaved like that. It took that little.
Yeah.
It took that little for these people paid to protect children to lose their collective shit. I mean, it's ridiculous.
They lost sight of the issue, and which was a child protection issue. And it, as we said before, it could have been resolved much easier, much simpler if there had have been an open line and a good line of communication, and there was kindness shown.
Oh, but it's not
on her part. But it wasn't. It just wasn't, because it wasn't in that nature to do so. I
was seen as a danger because I challenged. Now the blog started coming out, and started on your blog.
Yes.
Right. So a blog.
Yeah. Who cares? It's therapy.
It's like therapy. This is what I think today. I'll change my mind tomorrow. It's just a blog.
I lost my shit today.
Yeah,
that just happens. Life.
Yeah.
Real life.
It's just like expressing yourself. Now the reason I started the blog was because I noticed as a counsellor that people were not being their authentic selves, and it was affecting them because they were scared to say what they thought. So I thought in August 2017, Northern Ireland, I'll show you. It's safe to actually say what you think. My God. Is it safe to say what you think in Northern Ireland? Is it safe for your children in a primary school?
It probably is, but just in a small community it might not be as safe.
And that's what a lot of people were saying. And I was like, that's not okay. That is not...
Absolutely, it's not acceptable.
It's not acceptable to be silenced because you live in a small community. I should be able to have different views, completely different views, and it to be fine. But I do think it's connected to the trauma within the culture. So everybody's so scared of conflict. Whereas, like, I had a bit of a rant, right? Why can't you just go, like, any person would go, who gives it? Like, who cares? Like, Steph's Brighton. He has never understood the response. He's never understood because he's not from here. I understood it a bit more, but I did spend a lot of time away. But I don't think it's rational. I think it's dysfunctional what happened in terms of a parent writing a blog. It's highly dysfunctional. And I said to the governors, I didn't have a lot of readers.
I think it was just the notion of you having a blog. It was... on the web, it's accessible for everybody. But again, as I said to you, there was no names mentioned, there was no locations mentioned. You weren't being discriminatory personally to anybody. It was just how they perceived it, and they took it personally. And that's where the problem.
See, well, the thing was, I didn't know. So there was a lesson I wrote about. I didn't know who it could have been Lily's. I didn't know who designed it. It was just like, it's bad. Well, then I started getting messages from her husband, but I didn't know. But the headmaster knew he was in contact with me, and he was like, but I'm like, it's just like, there's no morals, it's just complete madness. And the headmaster's like, this year, rise above. I'm like, yes, rise above, like, don't worry, but the consequences, and I'm actually glad it all happened. I'm glad I saw that. I'm glad they're out. I'm very glad they're out. I am very grateful for all the teachers, because Lily loved all her teachers. And I'm very grateful because in the midst of all this madness, her main teacher did, for the first time what the school never did, there was an incident where she fainted. She fainted. Okay. Now that alone would tell you there's a bit of stress. Yes. But it was, she fainted and he called me. And I was like, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You know, I'm going to Belfast, but she needs to be collected. And he informed me of what was happening. And that is all I ever wanted. Because anytime I approached that school, it was a child welfare, a child protection concern. And the reason I never trusted the head teacher was because the first time she really, really hurt her knee. And I phoned him about it because she'd hurt her knee, she was very distressed. This is 2015. Hurt her knee, very distressed. But nobody phoned. And in Brighton they phoned about everything. Right? And then later she went to after school tennis club. Yeah. And she's quite, and then the reports, they say she's a quiet child at this point. She's got more confidence, but she's quiet, she's conscientious. But they didn't phone, she couldn't even get in the activity and they didn't phone me. So I phoned saying, what are you doing? This child, I've got a very, very upset child. Why have you not contacted me? We could have collected her. She's very distressed and she's in a lot of pain. And he said, now this is where the relationship with him, I went to no trust. He said, so Lily lies when she says she's okay. And in that moment, I was like, what? So Lily lies.
What we had said before was, you know, children will say that to teachers.
Well, if you're a big intimidator, and he intimidated the shit out of me. That's why I lost. Like, I was like, I don't want to deal with him anymore. He does my head in. He's too much. He doesn't listen. But he is very intimidating. And like, I have a foghorn voice, but I know I have a foghorn voice. He's a very, very loud, intimidating man. So I'm like this here, right? That I got the sense of him. Now in this document, it says he met my husband and I about it. Did he? Fucking can't remember. That didn't happen. But in this document, but it's happened in 2015. And he said, yeah, he met and all this here. It was sorted. So tick box. So it can't be upheld. I'm like, that's fine. It's not upheld. But what is beautiful is the dysfunction is in the paperwork. Yeah. The dysfunction is all throughout the paperwork. I met him, like, it was so bad. But I am so grateful that it all happened. So we're out. You know, because Lily's P7. She would be going into high school. Now, one of the things I've learned is they're like, if you think this is bad, because I've had teachers coming at me, if you think this is bad, you know, high school's worse. And I'm like, well, thank feck she's out, because this was a feckin' nightmare. She was very happy. She's very happy just getting on with it. She loved
Why would they even say that though? Why would they even say, if you think this is bad, high school is going to be worse? Because not all secondary or high schools are like that. You know,
they were trying to control me.
But from what you tell me about what's happened in the school and things, it just seems that they are, I suppose for want of a better word, like a standalone. I mean, because even working in a school and my own children going to school, my relationships with those schools are completely different to what you'd experienced. And I'm getting phone calls, you know, now for my children, like, which I would think was an insignificant thing, you know, forget the PE uniform or whatever, you know, that's not a big deal, but they still feel that it's proportionate to phone me and it's appropriate to phone me at any small, you know, occurrence.
No, well, that was why I was so grateful with her teacher for phoning when she fainted.
Absolutely.
I said, thank you so much. You know, that's great. Just keeping you informed, because then you know what you're collecting. Also, you know, the incident in February 2017, like I told you, and I'm not going to go into that one because it's one that I'm going to be taking it a bit. The school's done. The governors have done it. Yeah. But I find a gap. There's a problem here. This is a problem. Parents need to know this stuff. But I mean, the language she used, I told you, the state she was in, and it's just like, I was going to phone later. That's not okay. I shouldn't be getting information like that from a 10-year-old child. But still, it couldn't be upheld. You know, it's just like, He didn't phone. That type of incident, the educate, you know, it's just like, where are, you know, this is a big school. There's a lot of children. There's a lot of staff. He has an incredibly difficult job. I get that. But actually it makes me feel sick, the amount of stuff that was falling through. And then whenever I was a big mouth, I was.
Absolutely.
I was like, hold on a minute. This is not okay. I was asking for child protection policies.
But that's like, to me, that would be any parent's reaction. However, as we know, we're both mouths and we don't go away very easily, and we challenge everything.
Yes.
Especially when it comes to our blood and our children, we will challenge everything.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's a wrong decision and there is no other rectification, we're still going to challenge it.
But I didn't have that. See, if I'd have had the teachers, it would have been resolved. But he was constantly trying to defend and justify. Whereas you see, like, if I have somebody not happy with the work I'm doing, I listen and go, right, but I'm accountable, I'm responsible. So I'm like this, I'm really sorry that you've had that experience. Well, the meeting in September with the blogs, I mean, the dysfunctions in the paperwork, the dysfunction, and that was why I met my supervisor, and he said, you have a duty to challenge dysfunctional institutions. Well, it's fine, like, everybody knows what I think. Well, if anybody's interested about the education system. But as I said to the Education Authority, 3 years, you know, I had these views about the education system. Nobody gave a shit. Like, as long as I felt like it was childcare, she was happy, all that there. As soon as I was open, feck in hell. You know, as soon as I was openly saying, because I said to the Education Authority, I do miss the childcare. And they were like, yes, and you're entitled to it. But they said to me, find a school that has a similar ethos to yours. Well, my ethos is protect.
And where the hell are you going to find that? Right here.
Well, protect, just look after her.
Well, yes, protect, absolutely, but...
Oh, but she was fine for you.
But then again, there is schools that would be a very nurturing school.
Yes, there's one.
There is schools that have nurturing, you know, and they do have nurturing staff, and I suppose they get us and our parenting style, but they're very few and far between.
But I was telling you, like, Lucia's P1 teacher, like, I wrote her the love note of that. I was like, I just think, thank you. You know, if you treat, that is all you have to do. Treat them well. And you don't need to discipline. Well, because I run the workshops. Sometimes I have 160 14 and 15 year olds and I have their attention for an hour. And they're like, oh, how do you do it? I'm kind. I respect them. And I have a foghorn voice. And I can be quite intimidating. I know that because I've got a strong personality. But it's not my it's not my intention to intimidate. But that brings us to that meeting. I want to talk about that. What do you think about that meeting? That meeting in September. So I think this is important for parents to know. There was a meeting in September where I was deregistered Lucia, and I'd been attended a meeting. It was about Lucia, and it was 1 hour, and it was the maddest thing. I turned up. I thought I was meeting the head teacher, just me and the head teacher. But I turned up and as soon
ambushed. Complete ambush.
No, but they were, according to this document, they were all the epitome of professionalism and respect, and I was nuts. Well, I would like to say I was nuts, but I thought we were all nuts. I thought everybody knew that meeting was nuts. But actually, what I've learnt is I felt very, very attacked, very intimidated. There was me. I walked in, there was a chairperson. Well, I was like, who's this? And he was, you could see already he was an agitated mess. But apparently he wasn't, according to all three. So there was me, and I walked in, and then there was this man, and I was like, who's this? And why is he here? And you didn't tell me he'd be here. And he was like, this is chairperson of governors. And I was like, right, okay, well, you should have told me. And he was like, well, you don't have to, you can postpone it. But I already knew it was hard getting meetings with him, because the time when Lily was, the incident that was child protection, right? It it was a week later he gave me a meeting. So I was like, well, if I don't do this meeting, I don't know when I'm going to...
There's no sense of urgency whatsoever with that.
None. And that's a child protection.
And that scares me.
That's scary. That is scary. Because the language she was using and no information from the school. Boys have been punished. What happened? We need to improve our record keeping. That's what the recommendation is. We need to keep... I still haven't heard fully what happened apart from what Lily's told me. And that's another thing. There's a recording with staff where the head teacher's like, well, Lily can just come at home and say whatever she wants, which sends shudders down me because all the information was coming Lily because the school did not communicate.
That obviously is him insinuating that she can lies.
Yes,
but children do not have the ability to lie at such a, at a young age.
They can't, like, I would say this, they can, but what's the message? If they are there? But she wasn't, because the Education Authority have investigated the school. Everybody has said this has happened. All of my detail about that incident, which I like, is from a 10-year-old. The school's like, oh no, we punished them. Well, what for what? And the way they punished, the way they treated the child, the way they managed it goes against absolutely everything I believe in.
Mm-hmm.
It goes, I thought it's such a coercive environment. He is punish, and I am nurture, support, guide, protect.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where this document is a gift. It brought me such closure. The governors basically said you did the right thing. He did nothing wrong because he can run a school like that. And I was like, thank you for the lessons. Thank you to all the teachers. Thank you. It was the best gift. It's like after 9 months of just going like, what the hell happened? Like, I was treated like I was the most dangerous person that ever lived. When I was talking to the Education Authority, I was like, they're treating me like I'm the most dangerous person ever. And I said to you, I can't get my 6-year-old to wear a coat. And they were laughing.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, this is madness. It was madness. Everybody lost sight of Lily. But I have to say Lily was heroic. Like, Lily's been heroic. But it's just like, how can, in this day and age, children be treated like this? How can
they... Well, they shouldn't be, and we know as parents that is not acceptable. But that's what we were talking about earlier, where it's the parents need to have awareness.
Yes.
It's an awareness thing, because I know, like, as I said, growing up, your parents put you into school because that's what you had to do, and you had to conform, and you had to toe the line, and you had to do as your teacher told you. And I think the culture now that we have is very much that children are at the forefront, and we need to listen to our children, and we need to be aware of our children emotionally, and how things impact on them. And I think there still would be parents who would be of the mindset of the school where you have to conform and you have to do as you're told, and that's it.
Yeah, but the thing was, like, it's like that then went to me, so then they treated me. So what I got a sign off in that meeting, and I love the fact that they've all said that they were the epitome of professionalism.
Yeah.
Because I work in many schools. So when they were like, no, the problem was you were crazy. I was like, yeah, I was a bit nuts. I was under pressure and at 3 of you going at me for an hour. But you're all nuts. But actually, if that's... So I was like this at one point. What's the lesson? What's the learning? Okay, that's what they think professionalism looks like. In that culture of coercion and him basically the dictator at the top, professionalism and respect is him just calling the shots and everybody just obeying.
Yeah.
Because I felt like, actually I said to the Education Authority, now he didn't, I said, like, I was just like, what's the point of school now? Because what is the point of it? It used to be about making people financially independent, but I don't think that there's so many people in the education system who won't ever be. So I think it should be about helping them live their best life. Helping them
skills. It's learning skills.
Yes.
And even now, I know yourself, I suppose, when you were at school, there's stuff that you would have had to learn because it was compulsory that you have never applied.
Yes.
From the day and hour you left school.
Yeah. No, but it's just like the whole way it was. Like, I thought a load of the teachers were brilliant, but my problem was when things went wrong. But in that meeting with the three of them, they did think, I think they thought they were respectful. But I was intimidated. I thought they were incredibly rude, very, very dismissive. And they were looking at me like I was the biggest nutter ever when I said I didn't agree with them.
And that therein lies your problem, because you challenged.
But he was shouting at me a lot, and I shouted back. But he shouts all the time, right? So if me shouting back at him is me bullying him, is him shouting at children all the time and him bullying them? Because that's what he was...
Depends on your perspective of it, doesn't it?
Well,
yeah.
I don't shout at the children I work with. I don't go, but he was shouting at me.
Yeah.
But he was saying, oh no, I'm not. He was like, stop shouting. I was like, you're shouting at me. And he was like, no, that's my man's voice. I was like...
That's hilarious.
I was like, well, that's my woman's voice.
My man's voice. So he's bringing gender into it then as well.
And I'm like, as woman's aid, I'm like, that's a bit worrying. You're shouting at somebody, but then you're justifying it or saying
because it's your man's voice. It's okay because it's my man's voice.
So the chairperson of the governors, I was telling you, like, he was going for me, but he was actually a really shit bully. So he had my blog, like, but actually this is all a dream, because according to them this didn't happen. So this is a dream. I'm not saying this happened. This is like what I don't know what happened, but he'd highlighted, and then he was throwing it, and I was like, are you throwing my blog?
How dare you?
And he was like this, oh, and then he was tutting at me, and I was like, I am neither seeking your approval nor care whether I get it. But I had three of them going at me. I just deregistered a child. I was really, really worried. I was really stressed. You come at me, a stress response, everybody knows, is fight,
or
flight, or flee.
Yeah.
I didn't run away, because I'm not going to run away if it's my children. I didn't freeze, which sometimes I wish I might. So I thought I was in a it always felt combative with him. Whereas if I'd have dealt with a pastoral care coordinator or possibly Lily's teacher, it would have been calmer. You need calm when you're dealing with child protection issues and parents who are worried. You need to be like, okay,
absolutely.
What have we got here? Whereas I arrived in, he said, take it down. He started shouting about blogs. He started telling me, he goes, do you want to go and tell those children why they've no teacher? And I was like, yes, I'd love to. He's like, you're not allowed anywhere near them. I was like,
that's just a rhetorical question.
Yeah. Do you want to phone that teacher and say sorry she's sick? Yes, I'd love to. I'll say sorry. She doesn't want to talk to you. And I'm like, what is going on? But apparently none of that happened. Then he was shouting, take it down about the blog. I was like, how dare you say it? You will never silence me, how dare you try.
I love it.
Fucking mad. But he said he is trained in conflict resolution, right?
Yeah.
Anybody trained in conflict resolution knows you cannot have conflict by yourself. But yet, you have three witnesses. The only time I was in a meeting alone, I was in a meeting alone. I never went to any meetings alone after that. That was a very full-on experience. You have three witnesses saying that I basically fought with myself or not. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
The dysfunction is in the paperwork. You've also got an occupational therapy document saying that a blog made a woman sick. So there's a woman still hasn't returned.
I'd love to meet the person who said that.
Well, that was it. But his irrational beliefs about the internet, the World Wide Web, blogs and things, the dysfunction is in the administration and is in the paperwork. I have a 22-page document about how categorically he refused to protect my eldest child. 22 pages. Do you think that's an easy thing for a mother to read? Does it make me sick? Who is responsible for how I respond to that document? Me.
Absolutely.
Well, why? The dysfunction of this school is deeply embedded in the paperwork. There's such a lack of, they're called cognitive distortions, but I think he's connected with the military, so it's like a war, but a war is a cognitive distortion on steroids.
Yeah.
Black, white, win, lose. And he treated me like I was the enemy, and he had my child he had duty of care of my child. This is not okay. No, but there's nothing you can do. The education authority are like this. Yeah, you can run it like that, but that's coercive education. That's the old school, like, to make them conform.
Yeah.
But like, we know that damages children.
So what do we do to resolve that?
Well,
I know.
I've taken 2 kids out. Other people have taken it. Like what?
I would love to take mine out.
Yes, but are your children being damaged in school?
No, I love their school. You know, there's a good open channel of communication there between me and the headmaster, because as you know, my eldest has issues, and I suppose we're at the start of getting support in.
Yes.
I think my frustration lies with the education authority.
Yes.
And the lack of funding there.
Yes.
And I think sometimes my frustration gets misdirected to the school as opposed to the education authority. But I mean, their school is good.
Yeah.
You know, and they're supportive for me as her parent, and they're supportive to her and try to do as much as possible for her.
But that's lovely. That's all
It's a very nurturing environment.
Yes.
It is a very nurturing environment.
Yeah. Well, like, that's it. But I don't know if we'll ever be back in. Well, my children are not interested in it anyway. My children, I cannot believe how happy they are.
You see, I don't think, I would love to take my children out, but not for the fact that there's any problem with the school. I think it's just my whole being, it's my whole makeup. I am such a nurturing person, and I want to spend all my time with them, and I want to teach them everything that I know, and you know, I want to impart my knowledge on them and my wisdom on them, and you know, every child is different, so they're not going to conform to the syllabus that's there, because that's textbook, it's standard, and not every child is standard, and it's not one size fits all. So you know, as I said to you before, that my eldest does struggle with her numeracy and literacy, and you know, she just says, I just don't get it, Mummy. I just don't get it when it's written down. And at home I would do a lot of visual aid stuff with her to help her with her numeracy.
Yeah.
And I think, my God, if I had you at home, you know, we would learn so much when we're out going for walks, and you know, going to science fairs, and you know, going to museums, and you know, she would just learn so much more.
Well, the way we do it is, it's the idea is the learning that they gravitate towards what they love to learn, and they're doing it their way. So Lily and Lucia are completely different, but we had to, like, there was so much that we had to, like, they got obsessed with the 9 to 3. I think that had to go. I was like, here we learn all the time, as in it's fun. We're not, you know, because they were like, 3 o'clock we don't have today, and I'm like, no, it's constant. It's just a part of our lives. Learning all the time and being curious, and I had to allow that to come, because they'd been so like 9 to 2 clock watching, like, I don't, because they believed it was boring or dull, and that was quite sad. But I am very grateful. I know this sound batshit crazy, like, I am very grateful for it all, and I'm grateful it's over. It was painful for all of us for a while, but actually we're all really happy now. And I hope, and what I'm really pleased with this document is that the governors said, it is great sadness that your children are no longer here. We really appreciate. They also said about how they found me, and I really appreciate them, because I have been accused of being the worst thing ever. But they found me to be concerned and informed parent who presented her case in an articulate and comprehensive manner. It was evident that she was passionate about the development of her children and about the need for reform in the education system. And then there's a lot of stuff. They did not have to do this. They didn't.
Absolutely.
And they made they were just like, it's kind. Out of all the lack of humanity that we were treated with by the management and by the PA or whoever she is. I mean, she was disgraceful. I had to phone the MLAs during the process, because she was she was compromising the process, and we've been going, I mean, in terms of morality and integrity, though the 3 people in that meeting in September, I can't even begin to think what you're at. You're supposed to be helping children. I mean, she played that, I'm a mother, I get it. And then, because I'm easily, so I'm like, yeah, you do get it. And I was crying. And still she was doing nothing. Like, the evidence, it's awful actually reading about the lengths they went to not to support her. But they were, you know, we were aware of the breakdown. But this is like, you know, the government acknowledged that the findings of a formal investigation process can never fully reflect the human impact of such a breakdown in relationships. It is a source of sadness. They've thanked us for the way we conducted.
But that has been written with compassion.
This woman, I mean, what they did, they brought closure into a very painful time, and they made me not dislike the school in any way. Like, I can still think of my times there. I can still be very grateful for the teachers that really were brilliant with my children. Like, I appreciate it all, but I like the recommendations. So this will be the end of it if you're okay. The recommendations, I just want to, oh wow. So the recommendations: school charter which details service delivery standards. So they basically at the end they've said, we wanted you to know that even though a lot can be upheld, but why they weren't upheld is incredible, and that information is brilliant for us going forward and advocating and supporting other parents. But they did take this seriously, and I do think they're going to put some positive changes in, so that's brilliant. But what I would say, if for parents with children in that school, record everything. Don't attend meetings alone. Try and deal with the teachers. Most of the teachers are incredible in that school, and just watch, listen to your child. Always believe your children. Always believe your children. But they said I like this. Service delivery standards to meet the reasonable expectations of both staff and parents and guardians. So that was another thing I took great comfort for. They were like, we couldn't really meet your expectations. And I'm like, that's good to know, because I'm not lowering them. But that's really good to... But they were... It
is good to know, but it's a pity you didn't know that prior to going in. But I mean... But your expectations are of any expectation of a parent where your child is well cared for, they're safe and they're protected in that environment. That to me is not...
I just always felt like he was trying to distract you. We're really good. Why don't you tell us all the good things you do? So when he found out on the blog that I actually thought the education was shit, he was like, oh, we have nothing on her. She doesn't even like what we're teaching. I think he thought, and then I was like, actually I think a load of the lessons. But I'm allowed to think that. I am not the god of education.
And I'm sure you're not the first person to think that either.
Yeah, but so what if I think it? Like, why do you care? Like, why do you care?
It's taken too personally.
What a wild woman. Like, I'm not even pretending I'm not mad. Like, it's called Musings of a Wild Woman. I'm not even hiding the fact I'm a bit insane. I love it. But I was treated like I was the worst. But this is centuries women have been treated like women who speak up. Do you know, so review, like these are very good recommendations. Review the school information management system and introduce a data protection compliant mechanism to record action taken and decisions made by staff. That's with regards to the incident, which I consider very serious. Oh well, definitely noteworthy. I don't know. It's a child protection issue, definitely.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Very serious.
Yeah.
But it's a child protection issue, and the fact that this is in it says that they're not entirely sure how he reached the decision, I think, about it being behavioural rather than child protection.
Yeah.
If he'd have told me on the phone, I said to you, if he'd have said on the phone that time I had a very distraught child, the language he was using, if he'd have said it was a behavioural issue, in that moment I would have phoned the police.
That's how serious it was, yeah.
The language she used.
Absolutely.
And they hadn't phoned me. And she was very distraught.
That's a huge feeling.
But I think they have acknowledged that, but it's still concerning that it wasn't upheld.
Yeah.
It wasn't upheld, so they have acknowledged, but it still wasn't upheld. So that's where review existing mechanisms for recording telephone contact and correspondence received, and introduce revised arrangements for record management, including version control. That woman, the woman who was heavily involved. Mm-hmm. I should have put a complaint in, but I was trying to be nice. There was about 6 members of staff. I could have put complaints in. I put 2. Nothing was sort of helped, but actually what this report has told me is that actually there was poetic justice for the woman who said, well, everybody liked the lesson apart from Lily, so it doesn't count. And then Lily started expressing herself. The others, they all followed. So I was like, do they think they all love your lessons? would seem so it didn't take much for like the dominoes.
Yeah.
And Lily would be a natural leader.
Yeah.
But Lily was conforming, was complying. Then you insinuated she was lying. You said she should assert herself. She started doing it, and then you all went for like vultures. Not her teacher. Her teacher was brilliant. Introduced policy guidance. Right, this is one. Introduced policy guidance on the use of social media and emailed by the wider school community to include staff, pupils and parents and guardians.
You see, that is just ridiculous. That recommendation is ridiculous. Yes, absolutely, within the school community, within the staff and the parent and then the pupils. How are you going to actually police or make parents conform to a policy?
It's a bit dictatorial.
Absolutely.
It's like totalitarian regime.
Absolutely.
Like this. But I think they might just be suggesting to try and minimise the likelihood of this happening again, because it did.
I'm sure you're not the only parent with a blog.
Am I?
Well, you could be. You probably are, actually. You probably are.
But I know, but quite a few bloggers. But blogging's not a big deal to me.
I just don't know how that's going to be enforced.
But it won't be. But it's maybe just a guidance like this one.
But again, as we said, like your blog did not mention school, did not mention names, did not mention location, nothing. There was nothing identifiable.
Well,
apart from your children.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't even know what school your children went to.
A lot of people.
Like I had to ask you tonight.
No, they didn't.
Because I didn't know.
No, a lot of people didn't. But they created their own circus.
Absolutely.
In the school, actually, they were my only readers, I reckon.
Did your views go up any?
I was like,
they were probably rereading and rereading.
I was like this. What the? Whoa! I was like, I said it into. It was madness.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying I could have done things better. But my God, I wish you'd have seen what we saw, like in terms of the reader. Like it's just like a frenzy. People need to be a bit more rational, but there is some learning. Like there's learning for me. There's always learning. Review existing guidance relating to appropriate behaviour and conduct a training need analysis to identify how best to support staff in diffusing potentially tense situations. That meeting in September. I mean, if that's them being professional, I am like, well, in all my years being in schools since 1999, working in Japan for 2 years, all over England, working in schools, all over Northern Ireland now, working in schools, I have never seen professionalism like that. And if that's your professionalism, I'm glad I'm well out of it. Because it was intimidating, it was terrifying, and it was ridiculous. And then the last one. The last recommendation. This is my favourite. Should issue an apology to the complainant for the failure to make her aware that a pre-arranged meeting with the principal would be attended by another party. I want to say this has brought me closure. I don't know if anything will ever happen. This has been 9 months. It's the end. I want to say thank you so much. Is there anything you...
No, not at
Thank
all.
you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.